Welcome to the Facts That Matter. I'm Erin Wilson. Today, I want to share 4 facts with you about education in the security industry. I want to welcome David Beckham, the Door Security and Safety Professionals, or DHI, Board of Governors.
Hi, Erin. Thank you for having me.
Glad to have you with us. Now for some facts. It's a fact that education is a big factor in achieving success, and learners no longer rely on written content. It's a fact that millennials, 48% of them are online almost constantly, with the majority using a smartphone. It's a fact that millennials and Gen Zers are digital natives, with Gen Z the first generation that doesn't know life without technology. It's a fact that millennials and Gen Zs want education at their fingertips that give them what they need when they need it. Now for some questions. So the door and hardware education has traditionally been in a classroom setting, either an entire day or even multiple days. With how millennials and Gen Zs approach learning, they want it quick, they want it short, they want it to the point. What does DHI need to do to meet those needs?
Well, Erin, I think DHI is addressing those needs. For instance, during the pandemic, DHI shifted its resources to create some more online instructor-led and self-paced classes in the wake of not being able to congregate in person. But in addition to that, the Education Council continues to update and develop new courses that are online and to the point.
But nothing beats face-to-face learning. So how do we get that kind of learning attractive to millennials and Gen Zs?
Well, when you attend an in-person class, you tend to forge relationships that carry throughout your career. Honestly, the in-person networking done after hours is where I've built some lifelong friendships. We should promote the ancillary benefits of the in-person education, but the benefits could be different for everyone. Networking, such as I mentioned, merely the opportunity to travel for some folks, but most importantly, immersing yourself in a learning environment rather than having the daily distractions of your job allows you to focus and learn more.
Yeah, I've gained some valuable friendships over the years when I was a student and all that networking in class. Of course, when I was there, we went one class the whole week. It was 5.5 long days. But we really learned to learn, and we also learned from each other and the collaborations and the different conversations that we had. And I still have friends today from 20 years ago when I took these classes. So yes, that face-to-face, that networking ability, and the chance to travel that you may not get to go to, someplace you've never been, that's always fun too. Now, a lot of our knowledge is in, some of us long-time industry professionals that we've been in this industry for 20, 30, 40, even 50 years. So how do we take that knowledge and expertise and get it into a generation that is digital?
Now, this is a pretty passionate subject for me. If you hadn't read my 2020 article, The Importance of Mentorship, you should. Mentorship is a key ingredient to producing a viable person in our industry, credentialed or not. When I went through the schools 20 plus years ago, there was like an apprentice program that you were basically required to have a mentor, and they were going to coach you through that process. In 2001, I became an apprentice, AHC, was a proud day. And an established AHC was required to coach me through that 5-year process. 5 years later, in 2006, I was eligible to take the exam, and I did, but I was prepared for it. Today, a mentor is not required, but I would say it is much more prudent to have one. To answer your original question, Erin, DHI actively engages our senior members, our volunteers, to do many things, such as writing articles, to teach. I know you're an instructor. I used to be. Update and improve training. The list goes on. So there's quite a bit being done today to get that knowledge into the next generation's head.
I was also an apprentice and had several mentors then when I was an apprentice. And yeah, just that knowledge that I could go, anything I was stuck on, I could go ask them, hey, I don't understand this. And they would take the time to explain it and make sure that I understand it. I still have some of those mentors today. And I have new mentors for different things that help me. And it's in just all aspects of the industry, not just learning, how to do door hardware and how it relates to the doors, but when you add access control and how technical everything is getting now. I have new mentors that help me. Even as an instructor, even in being in this industry for nearly 30 years, I still go ask people, hey, this is not making any sense. Maybe I'm looking at it the wrong way. And those mentors and some of those industry people that I've got friendships with that I've developed over the years, hey, look at this. I need another set of eyes on this because this is not making any sense to me. And sometimes you just look at something way too long and somebody else looks at it in 5 seconds. They're like, oh, here's the problem. And you're like, yeah, I should have seen that. But yeah, you can't beat that mentorship and the friendship that you garner from that, and now the knowledge and expertise that you can soak up.
You hit a very good point there, Aaron. It is perfectly acceptable to have more than one mentor. I have several, just as you do. Earlier in my career, a mentor brought me to a certain point. At that point, the mentor's knowledge, I'm now stepping into a new realm of doors, frames, and hardware, and that original mentor couldn't help me no more, so it was on me to go find another person that could guide me through the next stage of my career. And that could be, like you said, technical knowledge, maybe electrified specialty, wood doors perhaps. For me, it was when I transitioned into management and leadership, I needed mentors that could help me through that process. But you're absolutely right. Um, you're going to consistently have multiple mentors over the course of your career, and you need to be aware of who's a mentor and who's just like a boss telling you to do something, and you'll figure out the difference. But if you want to know more, read my article.
I have read that article, and it's very good on mentorship. In fact, I read your follow-up week or two ago on that, and yeah, there's nothing that beats having that one-on-one conversation. You can't pick that up in an online, even instructor-led class. You just don't get that same connection as you do when you're face-to-face. It's like sharing a meal. When you share a meal with somebody, then that relationship takes on a different dynamic.
Right.
And yeah, you just can't beat that. And we've got to do a little bit more, I think, on sharing how mentors can be so beneficial, and not just in your work, but in your daily life. How to get ahead. Like you said, when you became in leadership, you had a new mentor. Well, I did the same thing. I've got a couple of them. When I came up and stepped up into leadership roles, that I had some more mentors to help me with that part.
Right. Yep.
So for all that matters, what matters the most?
Well, to me, Aaron, it would be, with my walk through the industry and my path, I would say at the end of the day, it's finding the right people, and not to beat the dead horse, but mentoring them into a successful career. For me, nothing is more rewarding than to see other people succeed due to your assistance.
So with our younger generations, a lot of them don't think that door hardware is sexy and glamorous, and they want a purpose. And we have a purpose, a very strong purpose in making buildings safe and secure. So I think part of what we need to do with that knowledge and expertise is explaining that we're not just doing door locks, but we're making these buildings safe.
Absolutely. When you look at all the tragedies that have happened with large buildings, fire induced or whatever, it's our people, that our industry's knowledge that allows those doors to function properly under some very terrible circumstances. And when they operate correctly, lives are saved. People are able to exit the building. And in other cases, they're using these doors as barricades and protecting themselves from intruders. So there's a lot going on that the younger generation, the kids in college, don't understand yet. But there is certainly a purpose for what we do, and I take pride in that.
I do as well. I've been doing it a long time, and people ask me what I do, and I'm like, well, I sell door locks, and they're like, well, that's kind of boring. It's like, yeah, but take a look at doors next time you go through a building. Take a look at the back door when you go sit in a restaurant and it's blocked. And my job is to make sure that if something were to happen, you can get out.
Yep.
Any final thoughts before we go?
Yeah. So lastly, I'd like to say, just, remember to pay it forward. You can volunteer as an instructor. You can be a chapter leader. You can serve on committees and task forces for DHI, or you can serve on the Board of Governors, as I'm doing now. I've done pretty much all of those things that I've mentioned. They were stepping stones up to this point. And lastly, I'd like to say thank you, Aaron, for all you have done, continue to do, and for all what you will do as a volunteer at DHI.
Thank you, David. I really have a passion for sharing my knowledge. There were people that took the time to teach me, and I want to pass that knowledge on to the next generation. I'm Erin Wilson, and thanks for joining us on another discussion about the facts that matter. Remember, subscribe to this channel and hit that notification bell to be alerted to new Facts That Matter episodes.